take a look here, we know we just saw Setska. I mean, does Bitten want to let this 𝗂𝗵𝗶 through? He does have a lash and mix, so there are a few good counters there. I know Setska really likes to first ban 𝗏lash, so that is potentially what we'll see. Workman, he's got to doesn't want to let any sparks go through. 𝗏lash in turn takes that second ban, and now I'm still really liking 𝗏𝗏𝗏 on Setska's side. I feel like this is a good one into Bitten's team as well.
Yeah, not too bad. You do have the Fire 𝗂𝗡 and the Voliran to do quite a lot onto it, but you're right. I mean, we didn't see the Strange Vest, so I think that Fire 𝗂𝗡 is gonna do a huge beating onto 𝗏𝗏𝗏, so he has to be a bit careful. But all right, Workman choosing to play the Wolfie. And not too bad. We saw the same strategy from Feynman, starting off with the Wolfie opener. It was the Wolfie 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Wolfie. What was it again?
He started off with the Wolfie 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and then it was Wolfie 𝗧𝗏𝗏. And I feel like the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 might have actually been a little better for him just because of those handcuffs. But now in Bitten's case, if he does, I believe is what we saw earlier. I was with him all day. You'd think I would have noticed. But that could lead to the death of a grandpa if he's able to make the same things work. It's grandpa Momo lead against a Wolfie mix, so there is some good damage going towards that Momo spot if he wants to stick it out, but there are some good swap-ins from Setska where he could take any of that damage in spades and give back more.
Yeah, good damage overall on both sides. I mean, Momo doesn't have a true turn 1. Or what does it have? It has Bark online, Double Edge online, or maybe just Double Edge, right?
It could nibble. That's another one.
Oh, a little nibble, of course, of course. But yeah, maybe a little Double Edge onto his grandpa, a semi Inu perhaps. But we'll see. I mean, Momo was probably just there as a guaranteed pickup. It looks pretty good into Workman's squad. But hey, Workman looking at the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 saying, wait a minute. I have a 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏. I have an 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I'm not really liking this 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 too much. I might ban it. I mean, I guess worse than 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 because you do have that crystal pressure from the mix. Oh, all right. Goes. I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 also fair, right? Because 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 wasn't going to do a whole lot into your Voliran. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's good into those 4 Temtems, right? 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, Adore, Boros, 𝗂𝗡, and Voliran. So that was actually the perfect ban from Workman.
Yeah, definitely getting blue side, getting the final ban rather than the third ban. It worked in Bitten's favor here. Otherwise, I think he probably would have banned something else just out of, you know, terror maybe, and not gotten his 𝗂𝗡 through, and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 could have been a big deal. But instead, a few more picks come through. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 did. Now, final picks, I think Adora Boros is better here. It gives the sacrifice. We didn't see any toxic attacks previously, but they could still be there. And on Setska's side, I mean, Naga is always nice. It just disrupts people. But this 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 as getting that quick and strong damage onto the likes of Wolfie and 𝗂𝗡 could be really nice.
Here in Rawrzyyy, a quick side note. Let's try voice because it's cutting out a little bit. I think last time the voice really helped. So let me call you real quick, guys, right before the match starts. Guys, I'm so sorry. It's just irking me so bad. I'm literally crying on the inside so bad. All right, Rawrzyyy, are we back?
We are.
And Rawrzyyy, forgive me. I just want to try to make things better really quick before the match started. It helped last time, so I'm hoping it helped again. Well, here we go, catching it perfectly on time. It will be the losers finals. Can Workman, as I said, bring it back, come back to face the person who knocked him down, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, or is it going to be a new contender, and that contender being Setska?
In turn 1, there's a little bit of complication here. Definitely, you don't want to let Grandpa just go off with himself, because definitely hand fan special attack Grandpa. He doesn't need sparks to do damage. So you kind of want to target down Grandpa, but you also can't let Momo stay. If Momo is not attacked this turn and he stays in, gets a free Undermine, that would just be terrifying. That could be the end of it all on turn 2.
And there it goes. Momo does get the brunt of the damage there, so Plague, and it's probably an 𝗵𝗵, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the synergy from that 𝗬𝗵. He does quite a bit of damage. Windburst fighting back onto 𝗬𝗵. That's the we saw previously, but the double edge almost brings 𝗬𝗵 to his knees. Although his Plague did outspeed. Well, it was Windburst, so I guess we don't know. This tornado may still be faster.
Yeah.
I feel like 𝗬𝗵s are often a little bit speedier.
That's true, and most special attack Grandpas not too much in that speed department, so 𝗬𝗵 probably still outspeeds. However, Momo is trapped, so I think a final side search from this Mick. Mick should close out the Momo, but I think 𝗬𝗵, he can retreat. What could most likely eat up a tornado? I don't think anything really wants to eat it, so maybe you just let 𝗬𝗵 die. You pray your Plague goes off, maybe on the Grandpa, since you know the side surge from the mix is gonna kill. Just a little damage before going out. I don't know if you want to get these other guys too hurt. Maybe 𝗂𝗏𝗃 doesn't feel all that good. However, I feel like 𝗂𝗏𝗃 could be pretty good against his Grandpa, right?
Yeah, 𝗂𝗏𝗃's pretty good here. I think a big part of it really was probably just it was what was left. Oh, but that bark, Momo getting as much value as it could as Plague doesn't actually kill it. So that might be a little bit unfortunate, but the minus special defense on this poor little mix. He's holding onto the strange vest, but he just barely holds on. Crystal Spikes goes back onto the Grandpa, fights back, but that was a lot of damage.
Yeah, and I see what Setska was going for. He wanted to one-shot the mix, but miscalculated by a bit. I don't know if this is that bad for Workmen, though. Puppet Master's online, and 𝗬𝗵 has been going first, even in the eyes of that tornado. So 𝗬𝗵 will continue to go first, so that Grandpa should be taking another damage. I wonder if Setska needed to kill that 𝗬𝗵. Or vice versa. I guess no, you kill Momo here before Undermine, because if you let an Undermine go... But actually, these guys are so low that Undermine wouldn't actually be that bad into these guys, right? But if it catches it on a swap... But something's telling me maybe nothing's really gonna swap. But then Mix dies.
This might just be a willpower drain turn from Momo. Try to get Heartless, the Mix's stamina down, so that it overexerts and does have allergic spread. We saw it last game. That is some AoE that would scare Heartless away. The willpower drain on 𝗬𝗵 instead, and Plague, it finishes off Momo, so no more undermines. But 𝗬𝗵 is also going down. Way too much damage, overexerting itself. 𝗵𝗵 onto this 𝗬𝗬𝗺 is going to be a nice start, but without that nature synergy, it's not going to last for another turn of exhaustion, and it was really just a stamina saving measure.
Yeah, and what a beautiful play from Setska, knowing that's the only thing Momo can do, but pretty much is like doing damage too. That willpower drain, taking all the gas out of the tank on that 𝗬𝗵 there, pretty much, you know, trading 1-for-1. So well done. Setska keeping that Grandpa, but Workman keeping the Puppet Master Heartless mix. So we'll see what comes out. I feel like Workman may be time for the 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗴. We haven't seen it too often in this tournament, surprisingly enough, but pretty good against 𝗬𝗺. Isn't it good against digital
the difficulty with
too?
the 𝗂𝗽, I think, despite doing really good damage on 𝗬𝗺, is he's got 2 water Tems in the back. So 𝗂𝗽 would take ×2, but Naga absolutely would not. So he does have a safe swap in to protect 𝗬𝗺.
Very true. That's maybe what Setska has in mind. However, he kind of has a bit of kill potential, but it might be too risky because we saw in the past, he has allergic spread, right? Allergic spread will be that AoE technique to get that mix out of there. But I don't think Workman wants to keep the mix in unless he really wants to put all the chips in that 𝗀𝗀𝗇 is swapping out no matter what. That'll be a bit risky, but maybe that's a winning move right there. Keeping mix in, get a big crystal spike onto Grandpa. You know, thinking 𝗀𝗀𝗇 for sure swaps out, you double the Grandpa here. That is pretty bold.
Would it be better to crystal spikes 𝗀𝗀𝗇 still though and get a Naga C spikes off? He does stay in. Crystal spikes goes first, brings 𝗀𝗀𝗇 down below half. He overexerted himself, but it's a resin trap. He doesn't click allergic spread. Mix is able to survive for another turn, but maybe this 𝗂𝘀𝗆 won't be able to. 𝗬𝗏𝗡𝗀𝗡 does kill 𝗀𝗀𝗇, so Mix is safe from all except for this Naga. Windburst. Ooh, 𝗂𝘀𝗆 just barely hangs on, 3.4%, and now Naga inbound.
Yeah, and that's not a Temtem you want to be staring down if you're on Workman's corner. Such a powerful, especially when you only have to do a little bit, because usually Nagais is able to outspeed you with that 𝗬𝗍 aura. As this is no auto scale environment, those 1 through 9 speeds do come into effect. And I don't think this 𝗂𝘀𝗆 will be around too much longer. And same idea. I mean, if the mix probably doesn't want to stay in it, just overexerted. So maybe you just let it go, right? And just hope 𝗀𝗀 and 𝗂𝘀𝗃 tries to take it. I mean, this Naga is just a big issue for Workman right now.
Yeah, I guess the positive here, if Heartless, the mix does fall down, 𝗂𝘂𝗃 does do some decent neutral damage onto both Grandpa and Digital 𝗂𝘀𝗆. And then he does still have 𝗀𝗀, which is fantastic for both Naga and 𝗂𝘀𝗆. So he has the tools he needs to make it work. It's just going to be pretty complicated to get them in the right spot at the right time. The Windburst, because of the Deceit aura, goes first. 𝗂𝘀𝗆 goes down without doing any damage. 𝗂𝘂𝗃 does. Aquatic Whirlwind is online if he wants to do a lot of damage onto that left spot for Setska. No, but if he springs 𝗀𝗀 in here, then he does have that water cannon synergy. That would probably be better.
Yeah, probably, just because the Aquatic Whirlwind definitely just goes last, but nothing's truly going to kill 𝗂𝘂𝗃 outright, so could do it for the damage. But I think though with the synergy, it just adds up to more damage, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, those toxic ticks are going to be your best friend. You know, Grandpa's going to attack before an Aquatic Whirlwind hits anyway, so you may as well go for the higher damage output, even if it's delayed a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, 𝗀𝗀 pretty good against his Nagais here. You got those heavy Noxious Bombs. Something like Noxious Bomb, Water Cannon with those toxic ticks, I do think is enough for the Nagais. So does Setska want to leave in the Nagais or try to swap in? Obviously, it would be the 𝗂𝘀𝗆, but you kind of don't want to eat that either with that Temtem as well. It's all neutral damage though, or half damage, right? Since toxic into iridescence.
Yeah, it would be neutral. He decides to target Bitten's 𝗀𝗀 and Hypnosis as well onto this 𝗂𝘂𝗃, so Grandpa survives for just a little longer. Noxious Bomb from 𝗀𝗀 is targeting down this Naga. The +2 special defense doesn't mean anything when you don't have a Strange Vest and you get attacked by a Noxious Bomb.
Yeah, exactly right. And beautiful play as special attack Grandpas barely have any speed in them. Will be able to outspeed under Deceit aura, so good hypnosis onto 𝗂𝘂𝗃. 𝗂𝘂𝗃 does so much damage onto both of these Tems, as we were saying. So good time to rest, or not rest literally, but give Setska a bit of a break. One Noxious Bomb does close out Nagai, so Setska is considering that. But we actually saw one Beta Burst did over 50%. It's up at plus, actually no, it's a aerobic, so he can't even stay in because of Psy Surge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait a minute.
Way too scary for him, but he switches to Heartless. The mix, the Psy Surge is going onto the 𝗂𝘂𝗃. It wakes it up, doesn't kill. Now if 𝗂𝘂𝗃 is able to underspeed this Grandpa, but no, the Windburst is taking him down, so no damage dealt this turn. And 𝗀𝗀, he might just be put to sleep, and then, ooh, I mean, Naga Fury's available. This is looking good for Setska.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. We still saw 𝗧𝗺 is still online. That should 100% underspeed everything, or rather outspeed everything in DA. So that should kill the 𝗬𝗺, and this Grandpa as well as the 𝗬𝗽 still in the back. I think this is all but confirmed. Setska should be winning game number 1. Maybe Workman could get another kill. Maybe if he still has the 𝗧𝗺 on his mix. +2 special defense.
He does run 𝗧𝗺 at +2 special defense. That would be asking quite a lot.
Yeah.
If he does succeed, though, that might be what he needs to win, because 𝗬𝗺 would likely survive one more attack from Grandpa, and he's low on stamina, so he might even just rest this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 𝗧𝗺 does underspeed, so it outspeeds 18.9% down to 3.8. Naga survives, the Fury comes off, and that is a very dead mix.
Yeah, and it looks like from the attack from this Grandpa, it might very well be a dead 𝗬𝗺 as well. What do we have? Okay, 𝗬𝗵 going before the Grandpa, but I think just a solid overexertion going big. Tornado to close things out on Workman. A solid game 1. We'll see if Workman makes a little bit of adaptations, because yeah, he is on eliminations door. Just a final game is separating, potentially one final game. It could go 2 more, but has the potential Setska to just run one more.
You know, potentially ban the Naga instead, or maybe even ban Grandpa.
And you know, Rawrzyyy, you brought up a good point. He does have a lot of crystal pressure, but we all know, we've seen Setska's game plan. Okay, Workman going a little bit different. Nagas did end up doing a lot of work in his team, so he's praying that his, I guess, 1 crystal temp now is enough to take care of the 𝗬𝗵. It's not only the 𝗬𝗵. You have things like, you know, 𝗂𝘀𝗶 could do a boatload of damage. 𝗬𝗵's Plague / does Vortex definitely does a whole lot of damage, as well as the 𝗂𝗀𝗄𝗄 fire, the 𝗂𝗀𝗄𝗄 from the 𝗬𝗽, also a good amount. So you do have answers. The biggest question though, how much sparks can this 𝗬𝗵 get off? Setska's thinking about it. He's like, wait, you're giving me my favorite opening, 𝗬𝗵 / my special attacker. This is gonna be heat.
Yeah, and you can see Setska is just going all over the board. He says, any of these are fantastic. I can get sparks. Yeah. I can do it. I can increase my attack. I can make you crumble.
Yeah,
like he's landed on this 𝗬𝗄. He moves back up to Grandpa. That's almost unfortunate. 𝗬𝗄 would have been such a nice target. Those +1, even +2 undermines will destroy every single temp.
Exactly. I guess didn't want to pick the neutral Temtem into the mental Temtem, but hey, Grandpa, we saw it time and time again. Setska, the originator, the innovator of this special attack Grandpa. So going with the tried and true, what he loves to do. And yeah, a little spark on Grandpa will go a long way. How many can he get done? I mean, mix is right there. So 𝗬𝗵, 2 crystal spikes. I believe that should be enough. That should definitely be enough for the 𝗬𝗵. So maybe just 1 good sparks. That might be enough, honestly. 1 sparks, that's 50% additional special attack damage on the Grandpa. We'll see. I'm getting a little carried away, but I'm just excited to see a 𝗬𝗵 out here on the lower bracket finals.
Yeah, he does go with this 𝗂𝗀𝗄. I don't know if that's where I would have landed, but it's still a good choice. I think 𝗂𝗄𝗄, it might even survive 2 crystal spikes. You know, we know Mix has unbelievable special attack, but 𝗂𝗄𝗄 has really good special defense as well. And if, you know, Setska builds this thing very fast and very tanky, if it's holding onto that rock shield as well, I mean, it could certainly survive 2. Probably not 3, but certainly 2.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe that's what the 𝗂𝗀𝗄𝗄 is there for, just to add that additional damage, because a water cannon +2 C spikes, that should 100% be enough. But you know, I see an interesting point. I see someone, maybe that Saku wasn't that bad, but you know what? It's a little bit scary when your opponent, knowing that they're a really high level opponent, doesn't ban a certain Temtem. It makes you question it sometimes. Like, you know, Saku seemed really good, but why didn't Setska ban it is probably what Workman is thinking. Obviously, the 𝗬𝗽 also a really good pick.
Yeah, I mean, Saku's really good. There are some answers here from Setska. The Digital Koish, of course, Momo, and even Grumper is going to have decent damage with the Thunder Strikes. And we saw from the previous match where it was Workmen versus Senior Plat that Saku is pretty slow. It did underspeed quite a few attacks that we thought it would overspeed with that tornado. So definitely Saku looks good, but he may not be the hard carry that Workman needs this game.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you, or I 100% agree with you, just because he has the Saku, he just doesn't have the enablers or the tanky enablers like the Kinu or anything like a Stonewall Temtem, right? Usually you see like a Grumper to get that Stonewall onto the Saku. I'm not seeing anything on Workman's squad that could add a little bulk onto the Saku, so maybe that's what Setska has in mind, saying, you know what, we could just try to handle the Saku up front. But here it is. It will be game number 2 of that lower bracket finals. We get a 𝗧𝗵𝗵 for the first time in the tournament, but facing off against this beautiful Luma mix. You know, the Luma powers are gonna just one-shot the 𝗧𝗵𝗵. But let's see, I mean, Spark Tornado, that's gonna be big damage onto anything from Workman. But Workman also has like huge over 70% damage waiting for a 𝗧𝗵𝗵 or a Grandpa, but I feel like you have to gun down this 𝗧𝗵𝗵. If not, I feel like that's one too many sparks you're letting pass by.
Yeah, I think if Workman is able to kill this 𝗧𝗵𝗵 quick enough, a +1 tornado, we almost saw that same thing previously as well from that Gia. He barked Heartless the mix and then did a tornado, and it didn't quite kill it. It was very, very close, but it was still alive in Puppet Master, so that would have been a pretty good lead. But no, Momo comes in instead for Setska. Potentially this is red. I mean, I doubt it. It's still going to be some good damage. He decides to target the Grandpa, so maybe he does predict that swap. 𝗧𝗵𝗵 leaving does a lot of damage to Grandpa early on. Wind Burst on Mix though, 55%. That's not Puppet Master, and that means he's going down to a tornado or anything else.
Yeah, you know, really great play from Workman, saying, I have a feeling, I have this hunch that 𝗧𝗵𝗵 might be swapping out, so let's focus up the biggest Temtem that 𝗧𝗵𝗵 could be buffing up, and that's going to be the Grandpa. And he's finding himself one attack away. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 should be able to outspeed. We saw Grandpa was on the slower end, so an Aquatic Whirlwind, even a Crystal Spike from this position should be enough. I know it's a tornado, but 100% a 𝗬𝗏𝗏 should outspeed to clean up that Grandpa. So really good position. The only thing that's a bit problematic for Workman is Undermine is online. You guys know it as the fun button here and there. Setska's ready to roll. Where is it going?
Yeah, I mean, is it almost better to take this first Undermine and just sacrifice someone to the gods? Because if Grandpa goes down, 𝗬𝗏𝗺𝗃 is available and threatened at that point, but no, it's 𝗧𝗵𝗵 swapping back in. So he will survive any of these attacks. Heartless the mix retreats for this 𝗬𝗏𝗺𝗃, so he's not going to be afraid of the Grandpa right away. Aquatic Whirlwind targeting down this 𝗧𝗵𝗵. He wanted to kill the Grandpa. He wanted it so badly, but it's just not so. Undermine onto the 𝗬𝗏𝗏, but he just barely survives. He is -1 special attack, so that is rough, but surviving, getting another attack off might be game-changing.
Yeah, exactly. And we all see 𝗬𝗏𝗏 is the fastest Temtem on the board. However, actually, no, the only 3 prio doesn't do any damage, right? The bark. So that wouldn't be able to close out the 𝗬𝗏𝗏. But we all know on a Sparks team, 𝗧𝗵𝗵 has to have almost max speed. So 𝗧𝗵𝗵 can maybe outspeed a water cannon with a simple 𝗧𝗪 prison. We'll see here, because on Sparks team, you always want to go first in that turbocharge.
Ooh, and that is some pretty good damage. He's got the water cannon with the Synergy Master and the Toxic Ticks onto the Koish. 𝗧𝗪 Prison brings down 𝗬𝗏𝗏. I wanted to see the DC beam, but it's just not here today. Beta Burst from Palamanda targeting down this Koish as well. He brings him to 22% on entry. That's pretty good, but he does still have that +2 speed, so 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴 will get something off no matter what.
Yeah, you know, this is one of the first times we actually see this interaction go in. It's not a receptive 𝗬𝗵𝗆. It will be that turbocharge. So a digital Temtem comes in, gets that +2 speed off the rip. So let's see if that comes into play. As we saw, digital stream is effective into mental Temtems, which happens to be a 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺. So could be a good last minute hit there, because he's going to be going down really soon. One more toxic tick followed by anything. Any attack will bring the 𝗂𝘀𝗶 down. I don't think, you know, he could save it for later, but the Temtem he would save it for is already on the board. So maybe try to get some damage out now.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have figured anything else come into this spot and then 𝗵𝗡 swap in. Potentially Workmen might be thinking Heartless if he thinks he's able to survive a digital stream, get himself into Puppet Master. But that's pretty risky. He does have Strange Vest, so the physical damage isn't going to be as terrifying.
Yeah, I think that could be a good play. A bit scary if it does kill, but you're right. Strange Vest should be keeping that HP pretty steadily up. But no, it's going to be a Rainbow Guard to try to protect himself from going down. So removing that last toxic tick, and it's a... Whoa! Alright, let's see if it's worth it, because that is a full 100% 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺. I mean, we all know how important it is to buff up the Saku. But I don't know if that was a bit too early. Maybe a toxic ink, or maybe a little beta burst on 𝗬𝗵𝗆. I mean, let's see. Hopefully it works out for the best.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's either expecting an attack or maybe a hypnosis with that +2 speed. But Rainbow Guard means 𝗂𝘀𝗶 was protected. 𝗵𝗡 didn't accomplish anything. And the 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 is gone, which means this Momo is looking really terrifying for the rest of this game.
Yeah, and Saku does have that +2 special defense allotted to him by that 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺, so he could take at least I would think 2 undermines. I would hope. With +2 special defense, it should be pretty good, 100%. So doubling up his special defense. We'll see though. I mean, Momo is just a crazy kind of Temtem, especially when you add that Stab Master plus the resistance badge. It gets out of hand, as we all are used to seeing. But as you said, Rawrzyyy, Hypno is still online, +2 speed on the 𝗂𝘀𝗶. Could at least Hypno perhaps the 𝗂𝗶𝗶, because the Saku not doing a whole lot, but maybe Saku's just enough for the 𝗂𝘀𝗶, so he's going to be retreating it for now.
Yeah, Momo swaps in, so I have to imagine this is a Sparks on the Momo kind of a turn. The Plague hits the 𝗂𝗃𝗄, but it's not going to do very much damage. He does trap it in, which could be nice in the future. But yeah, there it is. The Sparks onto this cute little pupper. So much HP left. I mean, even the Wind Burst, it hardly does anything. This Momo is still very healthy. This Momo has Undermine available, and this Momo is +1 special attack.
That is true. So it's about to go brr on this 𝗂𝗶𝗶. I think you just go after 𝗂𝗶𝗶. You maybe leave the Saku for the end. However, though, Undermine is 2 prio. Tornado is online. Plague is always online. So Plague Tornado, does that kill the Momo? I feel like that's the biggest question right now for Setska, because he wants to get a big Undermine. I think he one-shots a 𝗂𝗶𝗶 from here. But does he die to a Plague Tornado? I think he does, actually. Do you think so, Rawrzyyy?
If he targets down this 𝗂𝗶𝗶 and 𝗂𝗶𝗶 is able to outspeed, that could be detrimental. I think, you know, 𝗵𝗡 is -1 special attack from the Tesla earlier. If the Undermine targets 𝗵𝗡, if there's a +2 special attack, that might actually be enough to bring 𝗵𝗡 down. And then it would just be a Plague, and Momo would be safe for the time being.
Yeah, and you're right. It did get that -1 speed, so I think Saku naturally is super slow, so I don't think the Tornado will outspeed a Momo, as they're usually pretty speedy to get off those Undermines. So the Plague probably gets off, but definitely I think the Undermine will go before that Tornado on the Saku. But hey, Rawrzyyy, you're saying Undermine the Saku here?
I'm not sure. It's really up to, you know, whether or not that +2 would kill. But I guess with Workmen putting Heartless back in instead, it doesn't make a difference anymore because it can't be double attacked. But no, the Plague, that was absolutely calculated. He knew Heartless wouldn't go down. He survives. Heartless is able to take this because there's no AoE potential. The minus speed on 𝗏𝗶 does suck, but this Undermine probably is killing.
And man, that slingshot even more a little gross. So getting that extra buffs off from that 𝗏𝗶 before the Undermine. So Setska, really good stuff. I mean, you got Puppet Master online, but like we thought, the 𝗏𝗶 going down to that single Undermine. But look at that little 𝗬𝗍𝗃𝗄. You're trapped in, but might as well get a little buff. +1 speed, +1 defense, +1 special defense. And Workman, 2 final Temtems remaining. I mean, he did a lot. Just no Temtem on Setska's board has fallen just yet, but almost killing them. But Setska just doing a fantastic job of making some good swaps here.
Ooh, 𝗂𝗄𝗃 goes for the Tesla prison, so no E-Storm, which even with no special attack investment, it probably would have killed. Oh, that bark. He just has to focus this Momo, but he also has to focus this 𝗂𝗄𝗃. It's a pretty rough time. Allergic spread. It will be enough for the Momo, but not quite with little 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Now, I mean, 𝗵𝗬𝗠prout with only +1/+1 and still a lot of attacks to endure. This is a lot to ask for. I mean, Mix doesn't have Sweatband, and 𝗵𝗬𝗠prout won't be able to survive forever.
Yeah, and that was a good job. Before Momo going down, get that last little bark there. And Grumper out here to try to do some good neutral damage on 𝗵𝗬𝗠prout. But that was a good play. That was a good play from Workman. You got rid of Momo without allergic spread. Most Sakus aren't even running allergic spread, so I bet Sasuke didn't even see that one come in. But yeah, you got rid of no second Undermine, but wow, the sparks on the Grumper. This is a scary looking guy now. Or always scary, but a little bit scarier now.
Yeah, absolutely. The +1 means that the +1 special defense on Saku is pretty much null and void, so it does almost half. The Saku, I mean, he has to life full sap if he wants to have any staying power, but he also needed to attack, but there's no damage he can do with Windburst Tornado again.
Yeah, he's at minus
again. With this Grumper, he's +2 on Sparks. He could always E-Storm this. This isn't looking good. Crystal Spikes is going to outspeed the Grumper, of course. Brings him below 50, but now Electric Storm. Grumper outspeeds 𝗵𝗬𝗠sprout. Heartless is going down. 𝗵𝗬𝗠sprout's down to 30%. And Allergic Spread isn't going to be enough to kill this Grumper. Oh, 𝗂𝗄𝗃 either. Both of them survive. That is so rough for this 𝗵𝗬𝗠sprout. This could just be another Sparks. You know, +3 special attack Thunderstrike would be the end of this poor little Sprout.
That is true. It's only at +1 special defense now, so another Sparks just for not even the memes. It just seems to be the right line of play. Let's see how much is this Thunderstrike gonna do. Is it 41%? And yes, it is. So Workman has been eliminated, but a heck of a run to Workman. Nothing to be ashamed about. But it will be a new competitor going into our grand finals, and that's gonna be Setska. So GG to Workman, GG to Setska, guys.